Hello grade 9s, welcome to today's Maths Lit video lesson. I hope you all are doing well. Please excuse the facial hair, it's getting a bit chilly these days. And today we're going to be starting a new section, surface area and volume. And you'll find this on page 223 of the grade 9 textbook. So you'll see that there are a whole lot of formula there for the different types of solids. So the different types of solids are cubes, cuboids, prisms and cylinders. So I'm not going to go through the derivations of all these formulae. I'm just going to show you very simply how you can calculate surface area. So what is surface area? As the name implies, it's the areas of all of the surfaces of the solid in question. So for example, if we think of a cube, it's made up of 6 squares, and I've numbered them here. And if we fold all of these squares together, we get a perfect cube. So a cube is made up of 6 identical squares. For the cylinder, I've got this red ball can. And we can see that there's going to be a circle at the top. So this circle covers the top, and there'll be another identical circle at the bottom. What about for the side? If we take a rectangle and fold it, we'll see that it covers the entire side. So a cylinder is made up of 3 different shapes. A rectangle for the side, a circle at the top, and another circle at the bottom. Lastly, we have the prism. And if you look at the picture of the prism, you'll see there's a triangle at the top, a triangle at the bottom, and 3 rectangles for the sides. So all we need to do to calculate surface area is find the areas of each of these faces. So I'm just going to do a few examples with you guys. So the first example I'm going to look at is from the textbook. This is the example on page 222, the worked example at the bottom. And there are 2 questions. The first question is asking us to find the surface area of a prism. And the second question is asking us to find the surface area of a cylinder. So let's start with the first question. I'll read it. It says, determine the surface area, denoted capital letter S, of the height of the triangular prism in the diagram on the left, where capital H denotes the height of the prism. Small letter h denotes the perpendicular heights of one of the triangles. B is the length of the base of the triangle, and the lengths of the other 2 sides are given by A and C. So this is easier visualized than read. So I'm just going to draw a picture to put in all this information. And we have to calculate surface area in terms of the letters that are given. So in terms of the unknowns. And in grade 9 Maths Lit, I won't be doing this. I'll always be putting down values. And I'm just going to do it as in the textbook here, just so you can see the method. So let's start off with a picture. We have a triangle at the top. Let me draw it a little bigger. So this is the base of our triangle, and our perpendicular height is at 90 degrees, and that's given by small h. The other 2 sides are A and C. So we have all the specifications for the triangle. Our height is given by capital H, And remember, we have another triangle at the bottom. So there's a triangle for our top and bottom, and in between there's 3 rectangles. So in the picture, you can only see 2 of the rectangles, this one and this one, but remember there's another rectangle at the back for the side B. So now I'm going to calculate the areas of each of the faces. The area of the triangle is equal to a half times base times height. So it's a half BH. The area of this face here, corresponding to side A, I'm just going to call that rectangle A. It's going to be base times height, so it's going to be A times capital H. Similarly, for the other 2 rectangles, rectangle B is going to be B times H, and the area of rectangle C is C times H. So the surface area is given by capital letter S, and that's going to be the sum of the areas of each of the faces. So don't forget, there are 2 triangles, one at the top and one at the bottom. So we're going to say 2 times the area of the triangle. Okay, then we're going to add each of the 3 rectangular faces. So it's area of rectangle A plus area rectangle B plus area of rectangle C. Okay, so lastly, I'm just going to fill in all the values. So 2 times the area of the triangle is 2 times this, and we know that 2 times a half is 1. So all we're going to be left with is B times H for this. Then I'm going to add the areas of all the rectangles. So it's AH plus BH plus CH. Okay, now let's move on to the cylinder. So for question 2, it says that a right cylinder is a 3-dimensional object that has 2 parallel circular end faces and 1 curved face that is perpendicular to the end faces. So all this is telling us that the circle at the top is parallel to the circle at the bottom, and then the middle portion, the rectangle which is folded, is at 90 degrees to each of the circles. Next it says use the net of the cylinder in the illustration below to derive the formula for the surface area capital S of the cylinder. So the net is just the rectangle and the circle at the top and the circle at the bottom, and if we fold the rectangle and pop down the circle at the top and fold in the circle at the bottom, we would form a cylinder. So it then asks us to calculate the surface area correct to 2 decimal places of a cylinder with the dimensions height 8 centimeters and radius 2 centimeters. So I just want to put all this information down in a picture so that it's more understandable. So firstly, I just want to look at the rectangular middle portion of the cylinder. So if you think about the length of the top of this rectangle, when we fold the rectangle around our cylinder like this, we see that this length must be the same as the perimeter of the circle. Okay, so let's put this down in a formula. So we have the circle at the top, the rectangle, and the circle at the bottom, which is the same as the circle at the top. Now this length over here must fold around the can, so its length must be the same as the perimeter. Okay, so I've just repeated that. So let our radius be R, then the perimeter of the circle is equal to 2 pi r. So this length is 2 pi r, and it must be the same as this length. So the length is 2 pi r, and this is going to be the height of our cylinder. So when we fold it, this is our height. I'm going to let that be h. So now we just need to find the areas of each of these shapes. So the area of the circle equals 2 pi r squared. And the area of this rectangle is going to be base times height, which equals to 2 times pi times r times h. So now we need to find the surface area, S. So S is going to be a circle at the top and a circle at the bottom. So it's going to be 2 times the area of a circle. And then we have to add the rectangle in the middle. Okay, so this will give us S equals, so if we times this by 2, we get 2 pi r squared. And then we add the area of the rectangle to pi r h. Okay, so now let's do the second part of this question where they give us values for the radius and height. So it tells us that the value of the radius r equals to 2 centimeters and that the vertical height h equals 8 centimeters. So all I'm going to do is use our final formula, and I'm just going to plug in the values. Okay, you're also welcome to plug in the values into each of the same shapes and work out the 3 areas separately and add them all together. Let me rather actually do that. So I'm not going to use this formula. I'm just going to work out these 2 areas using the values that were given. So now the area of the circle equals to pi, and the value of r is 2, so it's pi times 2 squared, which equals to 4 pi. The area of the rectangle is equal to 2 times pi times the radius, which is 2, times the height, which is 8. So this gives us 2 times 2 is 4, times 8 is 32. Okay, now the surface area, S, is going to be 2 circles, so it's 2 times the area of the circle plus the area of the rectangle. So 2 times the area of the circle is going to be 2 times 4 pi, which gives us 8 pi. And then we add the area of the rectangle, which is 32 pi, and this gives us 40 pi. Okay, so I'm just going to calculate this to 2 decimal places. So 40 times pi gives us 125,66. And our units, because it's surface area, remember our units are in centimeters squared. Okay, so that concludes today's video lesson. I'm not going to go into too much more detail because you guys have the assignment to do on Thursday, Friday. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to send some questions related to the assignment and some solutions just so you guys can study. Okay, thanks for watching. Have a good rest of the day, guys.